Welcome to this episode of Toronto Blue Jays Update. Before we jump into everything today, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like on this video, and share your opinion down in the comments. We're going to be covering some really interesting developments that have been flying under the radar, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for the entire video. Let's get right into it. The Blue Jays trade rumors are starting to heat up again after missing out on Kyle Tucker and Bichette. There's one particular outfielder, or actually I should say infielder, that's been going completely under the radar, and some new reports have dropped that are really intriguing. We're also going to talk about the latest news on Cody Bellinger and the truth behind the Blue Jays' offer and negotiations with Kyle Tucker, and why that deal ultimately didn't go through before he ended up with the Dodgers. So there's an article that recently dropped talking about how the Blue Jays should pursue a versatile all-star infielder after Bichette's departure, and it's diving into Donovan from the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, this has been rumbling around for a while, and I've been covering it on the channel because there was a report from a Cardinals insider earlier in the offseason. The Cardinals have already traded away Sonny Gray, they've moved on from some other pieces, and most recently, they dealt Nolan Arenado. They're in the beginning stages of a full-scale rebuild, or retooling if you want to call it that, and trading Donovan falls right in line with their goals. The Cardinals also have J.J. Weatherholt in their system, who's going to be pushing for playing time at second base. He got some games last year with the big league club, so Weatherholt is going to be competing for Donovan's spot regardless. And with them moving to Arenado, it's clear they're retooling. This creates a perfect opportunity for the Blue Jays to swoop in and acquire Donovan, and honestly, this screams Ross Atkins trade to me. Think about it. You miss out on your big free agent targets like Kyle Tucker and Bichette. Cody Bellinger still seems possible, but maybe not as likely as Tucker was based on what we're hearing. Donovan makes a ton of sense because he has 2 years of team control. He's a lefty bat who doesn't strike out much. He put up a .775 OPS last year, which is respectable, and the best part is he doesn't have to play every day. He also plays multiple positions, including all over the infield, which gives the Blue Jays incredible flexibility. Here's how this would work. Against right-handed pitchers, Donovan absolutely crushes. His career-weighted runs created plus versus righties is 130. He's not going to match Bichette's production against lefties, but the Blue Jays have Ernie Clement who mashes left-handed pitching. So you can platoon these guys. When you're facing a righty, you plug in Donovan at second base and he'll do damage. When you're facing a lefty, you run out Ernie Clement who crushes lefties, and maybe you move Donovan to left field or give him the day off entirely. The versatility here is what makes this so appealing. Donovan can play second base, third base, left field, really anywhere you need him. If Ernie Clement is your starting second baseman, which it looks like he is at this point, you can give him days off against righties where he struggles offensively and plug in Donovan who will mash righties. It's a perfect fit for how this roster is constructed. Let's look at his numbers. In 2023, he had a .787 OPS. In 2024, .759. Last year, .775. He's consistent. He's not going to blow you away with advanced defensive metrics, but he's capable at multiple positions. His Savant page shows he's listed as a second baseman, but plays a lot of left field too. He has a 95th percentile whiff percentage, meaning he almost never strikes out. 92 percentile in that category. He walks at a league average clip. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs, but if you're hoping Anthony Santander can bring power and thump back to this lineup, Donovan would be the perfect complementary piece. This is exactly the type of player the Blue Jays tend to target. High contact, versatile, controlled, good underlying numbers. I really love this profile, and I think it makes a ton of sense for the organization. Right now, Ernie Clement figures to play a significant portion of second base with David Schneider as the other option. But if you want to give Clement some time off against righties where he struggles, you can have Donovan play second and absolutely mash. You can have him in left field. You can construct lineups where your only weak point against righties is maybe shortstop, and even then you're in a fantastic spot with everyone else crushing right-handed pitching. So what would it take to get Donovan? The article mentions Johnny King and R.J. Shrek as potential pieces. That's the Blue Jays' 5th and 10th ranked prospects. Honestly, that feels a little steep to me. I don't know if I'd want to give up Johnny King. He has a lot of upside, and the Blue Jays have already been giving up prospects. Last year's trade deadline, they moved Joram Watts-Brown for a reliever. They gave up one of their top pitching prospects in Cal Stevenson for Shane Bieber, which worked out because he came back. But Johnny King, I'm not sure. RJ Shrek, I'd be willing to part with, and maybe I could be convinced on King, but ideally, I'd look to move some non-pitching prospects because I really love this fit. Now, you might compare Donovan to Cody Bellinger. They both do really well against righties. Bellinger is obviously the better overall player, but you don't have to give up assets for Bellinger in a trade. You do for Donovan. Donovan has 2 years of control. Bellinger would probably be a 6 or 7 year commitment. Donovan is also younger at 29 versus Bellinger at 30. It's not exactly apples to apples, but I'm really high on Donovan, and I think it makes a ton of sense, especially with all the lefty mashers the Blue Jays have added. Okamoto crushes lefties. Ernie Clement crushes lefties. Donovan would give you that righty masher you need. Now let's talk about Kyle Tucker. There was a report that dropped late last night revealing that Tucker did have a long-term offer from the Blue Jays, which we already knew. But supposedly, if Toronto had increased the annual value, there would have been a real chance to close the deal. The problem was the $35 million average was a limit for the Blue Jays, so as to not exceed the $35.7 million average of Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s deal. So Tucker had serious interest in joining Toronto. He just didn't get the AAV he wanted from the Blue Jays side. If they would have bumped it up to $40 million a year, maybe $400 million total, they might have gotten it done. But the Jays didn't want to exceed Vlad's offer, which I think makes sense for now. You can't hold on to this constraint forever, though, because Vlad just signed a 15-year deal. He's entering year 1 next season. Assuming the salary cap comes in with the next CBA and potential lockout, you're going to have to pay people more than that eventually. Kyle Tucker is absolutely worth more than $35 million in today's market. Vlad at 35.7 looks like a bargain already. At some point, I hope the Blue Jays don't let this Vlad deal handcuff them, because as the years go on, market values are going to increase. But for now, it tells us something important about Cody Bellinger. It means they obviously won't go above $35 million annually on Bellinger either, which makes a ton of sense. Maybe a short-term high AAV deal is out of the question if they're sticking to this philosophy, but we'll see how it all plays out. The Brendan Donovan fit is what really excites me right now. The flexibility, the platoon possibilities, the contact skills, the team control. This is the type of move that could really round out the roster without breaking the bank or giving up the entire farm system. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on Brendan Donovan. Would you be willing to give up Johnny King and RJ Shrek for him? Do you think the Blue Jays should pivot to this type of trade after missing on Tucker and Bichette? And what about that revelation on the Kyle Tucker negotiations? Does it change how you view the front office's strategy? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.